What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of my hip hop review. The album I'm about to talk about today is Boogie Down Productions' "Criminal Minded," released in 1987 on B-Boy Records. Um, Boogie Down Productions, man, like one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time. The group that introduced us to the legend himself, KRS-One, right? KRS-One. You know, this is the only album where you had like Scott LaRock on deck and shit like that because Boogie Down Productions, they had like a lot of members and stuff like that, but the best known lineup, which was on this album, was KRS-One, D Nice, and DJ Scott LaRock. Alright, so Boogie Down Productions, they were just like one of those groups that transcended a lot of different styles that became prominent, you know, like everything from hardcore hip hop to dance hall to conscious hip hop. The list goes on and on and on, you know what I'm saying? So, and it all began with this album. So, for those who don't know who Boogie Down Productions are, they are a group that's based off the South Bronx to be exact. KRS-One, he's like the lead MC. He was um he was like an MC. He dropped out of high school and he relocated to South Bronx and stuff like that. Well, he got caught up in like the streets and he was staying in homeless shelters throughout his life. But he was still like the thing that kept him sane was like studying in libraries and whatnot. So around this time he became interested in hip hop and shit like that. And he was calling himself KRS-One, which was an abbreviation for Chris Number One. Or the best known acronym is Knowledge Reigns Supreme over nearly everyone. Dope acronym, by the way. So when he was 19, he got in trouble. He got in trouble with the law and whatnot, and he met his social worker named Scott Sterling, aka Scott LaRock, and he also became a DJ, and the two of them, became friends and whatnot, and that's when they decided to form the rap group Boogie Down Productions. Um, and D Nice, he was mostly like a beatboxer, but he does like he beatbox on like a song on this album and whatnot. But he mostly like became prominent in years later, which I'm gonna talk more about in reviews later. Excuse me. So they dropped their first single on Wax, which was called Crack Attack, and so that caught the attention of B-Boy Records and whatnot, and so they signed a record deals with them and shit like that. And so signed a record deal, and that's how Criminal Minded came about. So yeah, this was the album cover right here. Very dope album cover, very controversial album cover at the time because of the usage of the pistols and shit like that. But I think this is a reissue. I don't know exactly which reissue it is, but in reissues later on, they kind of did their best to like block out like the guns and shit like that. And yeah, let me turn this down a little bit because this music's kind of a bit too loud. Yeah, sorry about that. All right. So yeah, so with certain reissues, they tried their best to like block out the guns and shit. So yeah, this is the cover right here. You got KRS-One and Scott LaRock chilling. Yeah, this came with this. Yeah, maybe it is an OG, maybe it's reissue. I'm not too sure, but yeah. All right, so this album has about 10 songs, so you guys know what I'm about to do. Track number 1, Poetry. Very dope way to start off the album and shit like that. I forgot. Excuse me. Producers of this album include Scott LaRock, KRS-One, and Ced-Gee. Ced-Gee of Ultramagnetic MC's fame. Another dope, influential hip hop group. Definitely want to talk about them in the future and shit like that. I'll let you guys know when, or possibly when I finish reviewing all Boogie Down Productions and shit like that. So, and the singles album was known for was South Bronx, The Bridge Is Over, and Superho and shit. So yeah, all right. So track number 1, Poetry. Very nice way to start off the album. Um, just right from the get go, you can hear like the usage of the James Brown samples and whatnot, which 19 like I would say like 1987, that was like really the year when James Brown sample became very prominent in hip hop and shit like that. And Ced-Gee was really like Ced-Gee was really like one of the cats that really brought that to the forefront and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, because Critical Beatdown, which don't worry, I'm gonna review Critical Beatdown sometime like July maybe. So yeah, that's gonna be a dope album to review and shit. And so yeah, and regarding poetry, it's just a very different style of rapping that KRS-One was doing and shit like that. It was not typical like A B A B. It was more like an A B B and shit like that, or whatever he called it. Like shit like, if this is a tape or a written down memo, see, I am a professional, this is not a demo. In fact, call it a lecture, a visual picture, sort of a poetic and rhythm like mixture. Like shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So that's a very interesting way of like how he was rhyming and stuff like that. Poetry, very dope song. Track number 2, South Bronx. Okay. Now, this is where, this is where the album, like a lot of people kind of say that this was like one of the high points of the album. Boogie Down Productions and the Juice Crew beef. Let me just say that from what I've looked up, the beefs originated when KRS-One and Scott LaRock, they wanted to basically play like an early version of this song Elementary on Mr. Magic's show. And Mr. Magic, he was like a member of the Juice Crew as well, like, but he was like most, I think he was most like an affiliate if I'm not mistaken. And he kind of called the song whack, basically. He called the song whack. And so KRS-One was basically like saying, what you mean whack? Like, MC Shan is whack, Marty Marl is whack and whatnot. So he had heard MC Shan's song The Bridge, which I mentioned a couple of times on the channel, like the bridge, the bridge. And so with that song, MC Shan is calling like Queens like a prominent place where hip hop started out, you know what I'm saying? And so KRS-One, they made the answer song South Bronx. And this is the only song on the album that had D Nice on it and shit. So D Nice is doing some beatboxing and shit. Um, the song, very dope song, very dope diss track. It's not as good as The Bridge Is Over, but I'm gonna talk more about that once the time comes. But yeah, this song right here, like that beat, whoo, that beat is so ill. Like I don't care how many times I hear that beat, I always get hyped listening to that shit. And this KRS-One just flowing on this shit, like definitely love the line when he's like, I came with South LaRock to express one thing. I am a teacher and others are kings. If that's the title they earn, well, it's well deserved. But without a crown, see, I still burn. You settle for a pebble, but not a stone like a rebel. KRS-One is the holder of a boulder, money folder. Like, god damn. And then this is one of my favorite lines. My favorite lines where he's like shouting out all the cats like, he said, with cool DJ Red Alert and Chuck Chill Out on the mix when African Islam was rocking the jams. African Islam, whom I mentioned when I reviewed the Ice-T's albums and stuff like that. And on the other side of town was a kid named Flash, aka Grandmaster Flash. Patterson and Millbrook Projects, Casanova all over. Y'all couldn't stop it. The Nine Lives crew, the Cypress Boys, the real rock steady, taking out these toys as hard as it looked, as wild as it seemed. I didn't hear a peep from a place called Queens. I'm like, whoo! Like just that line alone, man. And MC Shan responded with "Kill That Noise," which "Kill That Noise" was an alright diss and stuff like that. I'm not the biggest MC Shan fan, so yeah, but yeah, South Bronx, that's deserves like a high point for this and shit like that. Very dope, very dope. Track number 3, 9mm Go Bang. One of my all-time favorite song from Boogie Down Productions. It definitely has that like reggae flavored kind of song, and just the way KRS-One was rhyming on that song, like very influenced, like what was become like dance hall and whatnot, And he's just talking about, like this, what's going on in the streets, 9mm go bang and shit like that. So, yeah, very dope song. A little trivia too. A little trivia too was a lot of cats have sampled this song, and Ice-T's Midnight actually sampled this song too. So, guys, just listen carefully to that song and whatnot. So, yeah. Track number 4, Word from our sponsors. My favorite song off this project and stuff like that. Um, this was the original B-side to The Bridge Is Over and shit. So he was just going in on the mic and stuff like that. Just that beat alone, it's like one of those beats like you can just party to, but at the same time it's so street at the same time. Um, A new era, KRS-One comes better. Buy another lyric, never, cause I'm too clever. However, I own my own label. Partners with Scott LaRock, he's on the turntable, and partner Lee Smith, I make sense that you give just to uplift hip hop. Hip hop, my voice like a monster. And now word from my sponsor. Like woo! Like that beat. That beat is, in my personal opinion, like a top 10 hip hop beat too, and shit like that. And with just his style unmatched with that flavor, man, like makes it like one of my all-time favorite songs and shit. Next track is Elementary. Um, yeah, this was the song where I mentioned earlier with the DJ Magic, Mr. Magic, controversy and stuff like that. Pretty cool song, He was talking about how a lot of the MCs a lot of the MCs were just being too repetitive when it comes to the microphone and shit like that. So that's what I got from that song. It was just mostly like a warning and shit like that. Next track, Dope Beat. That was a pretty cool song. That song, it uses that a famous AC/DC sample, and they just add some scratches on that shit, stuff like that. So next song is the remix for P is Free. Um, that song was pretty okay. It was okay and shit like that. The song is mostly talking about girls who trade sex for crack and whatnot. Um, the original version, it kind of followed the same vein of Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick's Lottie Dottie and stuff like that, and that was on the B side of South Bronx and shit. So with this song, they did it. They did their thing with this song and shit. But my personal opinion, P is still free off the Return of the Boom Bap. Shit's all over this one, in my personal opinion. Um, Next track, is The Bridge Is Over. Yes, this is like, in my opinion, the best diss track out of the two, and the most iconic in my personal opinion. Like, he was calling out MC Shan, Marty Marl, Mr. Magic, and Roxanne Shante, and stuff like that. So yeah, this was a very dope diss track and stuff. It's a classic. Um, the way that they flip that Billy Joel sample always gets me and stuff like that. Um, I love the lines when it's like, of course, the famous line. I'm just gonna say it right now. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Okay. Here's an example of KRS-One. They wish to battle BDP, but they cannot. They must be on the dick of who DJ Scott LaRock, because we don't complain nor do we play the game of favors. Boogie Down Productions comes in 3 different flavors. Pick any dick for the flavor that you savor. Mr. Magic might wish to come and try to save you, but instead of helping you out, he wants to do the same thing I gave you. I finally figured out Magic Mouth is used for sucking. Roxanne Shante is only good for steady fucking. MC Shin and Marley Marl is really only bluffing. Like Ducky Fresh said, I tell you now, you ain't nothing. Compared to Red Alert on Kids and Boogie Down Productions. So easy now, man. I mean, say easy now, man. Like, y'all know what I'm saying and shit like that. So yeah, that was very dope. Like, he was just going after the whole Queensbridge. Well, just like going after the majority members of the Juice Crew, because he was still he was not like beefing with the whole Juice Crew because he was cool with Kane and whatnot, and I think he was cool with Biz Markie, but I don't quote me on that. So yeah, it was just the media just hyped up from Boogie Down Productions to the Juice Crew, and I don't care what nobody says. Like that song killed MC Shan. I don't care what no one says and stuff. So that's The Bridge Is Over. Next track is Super Ho. Okay, so this is not a song like where it's talking about a woman. He's actually talking about Scott LaRock, calling him a super hoe. And like how he's a player when it comes to females and shit like that. So that's a very cool, interesting, and original song, especially for its time. And you don't really hear a lot of hip hop songs at that time, using the word hoe, and shit like that until the West Coast, NWA, Compton Most Wanted and stuff like that. So it was pretty eye opening for a song like that to appear on an album. And the last song off this album is Criminal Minded. Um, Interesting song, very dope song. I kind of feel like this song was like a precursor to what was to come, even if it was intentional or not, though. You know what I'm saying? So a very iconic song and stuff like that. And that's all the songs off this album. My personal opinion, hip hop classic right here. Very dope album. Um, I'm just gonna break this down for everybody right now. I do not have a favorite Boogie Down Productions album. I love each and every one of the albums, including the Ghetto Music album. I love each and every one of those albums like very different, and I felt like all those albums kind of represented a very high point in hip hop and shit like that. With this album, it was I view this album as possibly like their most influential album because like the production of this album was just so ahead of its time and stuff like that. 1987 was really the year hip hop really was finding itself. Like it was entering the new age era, to be exact, and shit like that. So yeah, that's the way I feel about that. Because the same year you had albums like Eric B and Rakim's Paid in Full. Um, you had if I'm not mistaken, I believe what's the album? I think Schoolie D Saturday Night, the album came out that year. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, very transitional year. Public Enemy's Yo Bum Rush the Show and stuff like that. And it's an album I don't feel like that's the props it deserves, but yeah, this is a very influential album and shit. They were just very hungry at the time too. Um, but there was some controversy. There was some controversy within this album and stuff like that because by the time they were finishing this album, and the album got all successful. Boogie Down Production, they didn't get their royalties. They didn't really get their royalties from this album, which kind of had a falling out with B-Boy Records and stuff like that, which means like this album, out of every album in the discography, is very hard to come by and stuff like that. It goes in and out of print. It goes in and out of print over the years and shit like that. Um, so it wasn't until like Ice-T, he didn't introduce Boogie Down Productions until he introduced Boogie Down Productions into Barry Medina, who was the head of the Black Music Division, and he got them straightened out and whatnot. And also after this album, DJ Scott LaRock, he actually was tragically murdered because um D-Nice, he got into trouble with this cat that was, he was trying to scope out his girl and whatnot, and so he called Scott, to help out with the situation and whatnot to probably ease tension. And so next thing you know it, this guy started shooting a gun out of random, and it shot Scott LaRock in the neck and stuff like that, and he had died within an hour. So it was a huge tragedy within hip hop and stuff like that. And with the death of Scott LaRock, it was kind of like an epiphany for KRS-One and stuff like that, which was what I'm going to talk about more when I review the next album and shit. So this album is Criminal Minded. released in 1987, must have in your collection. If you're a hip hop head, you should have this album, bar none, in your collection. So yeah, and that's all the songs of this album. I'm gonna do "By Your Enemies Necessary" right up next. Peace, and make sure y'all click that subscribe button.